You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we unwind, relax, and delve into all things hammock related. Join us as we swing into the world of hammocks, exploring tips and tricks for setting up that perfect hang, sharing stories of outdoor adventures, and discovering the latest trends in hammock camping and relaxation. Whether you're a seasoned hammocker or new to the art of hanging, this podcast is your cozy corner to kick back, escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and soak in the soothing atmosphere of the hammock culture. Prepare to be inspired, educated, and entertained as we embrace the hammock lifestyle together. So grab your favorite hammock, find that perfect spot to hang, and let's embark on a hammock-filled journey that will leave you feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to take on the world. This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where every episode is a breath of fresh air. Let's get started. All right, everybody. We want to welcome you back to this episode of the podcast, and this is actually going to be a pretty special episode because it is our post-HangCon Europe debrief episode. And
come on!
I'm sure y'all know whose voice that is. So
I was just enjoying your podcast voice. I've never talked.
Yes, that's my podcast voice. AJ always picks on me about my podcast voice.
It's a completely different voice.
It is.
You may not
like
hear it, but it is a completely different.
Exactly. We all have these different voices. There's the camera voice. Hey, everybody, it's Shug here. You know, it's and there's a podcast voice. Oh, I've never heard that voice. It's like you sound smarter, better looking. Just everything just flows with that voice. It's wonderful.
Yeah, see, that's why we don't do video on our podcast. Not yet, anyhow, because we want to keep the subscribers that we do actually have. And I know if they see me and AJ.
Yeah, can I tell you something about the video podcast? To me, this is just me. To sit and watch two people talking with headphones on, kind of not making eye contact, I don't really enjoy it. I would rather listen to a podcast, out
Right.
here, come out back here in my nut hut, and I just play one, eat my Formula One podcast and all that, and just listen to it like a radio show. And the ones where I have to watch two people for an hour on YouTube, I'm going, are they going to do anything or show us anything or even stand up? I don't know. That's just me. I'm not saying if it's good or bad, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. Now you can edit that out.
I think for me, when I listen to podcasts, I'm driving, so
Right.
Watching something and driving is not really a pro-life choice. So yeah, I completely agree. As far as podcast goes, I'd much rather just have the audio.
Oh,
Well, podcast, that's how the podcast started off. It's just audio too. So
that's what I thought. And it's like
yeah.
just another chance to get your face on camera. Now, like my videos, that I do, you kind of have to play the camera, but
Sure.
When I'm on a podcast, I'd rather just, that's why I always ask, do I have to pretty up, get the lighting right and everything. And, till I'm out here in my nut, what do I want people to see?
Right. Yeah.
Back
Back behind me is a mess right now.
I want them to see all my
everything's just kind of exploded.
All of them. Okay.
But whenever we are recording, I do like to see everybody, because to me it's just weird just doing the talking thing. So I like being able to see everybody.
Well, for us, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And AJ and I, of course, and Dawn, AJ's wife, flew over together and everything, but you flew over separate. So let's start off you telling us how your experience was. I mean, when you left your house, and how many layover stops did you have and all that good stuff? How was your flight and all that, all the way to Denmark?
All right, I'm going to back it up a little bit to where I got the first
okay.
sort of PM through hammock forums from a guy named Lars, who I didn't know, asking if I would be interested in going to the first European HangCon. And of course, my first thought on everything, I was always going, oh no, I don't want to go. No, absolutely not. No, I'd rather, that's why I put up my videos so I don't have to go. I don't want people to meet me and be disappointed. You know, I go through this whole Irish sort of thing of this Irish Catholic thing of guilt. And it's like, nope. I, rather pay my own flight than, there's nothing's on, I don't owe you anything. So that was my first thing. So, I answered him back going, well, maybe, but I do have a few questions. And so it started there. And actually, I'll say I got a really nice email from Lars yesterday kind of saying, Christian and I were talking and we said, well, if we don't ask you, then we don't know if you'll come or not,
Right.
And I thought about it. And I actually knew I would end up going. I just have to have this torturous time before of, do I go? Do I not go? What's expected of me? My wife saying, please go. That's just part of my buildup, part of my DNA. And then the flights, you get the tickets, and Meg dropped me off at the airport. So I had the first flight was from Minneapolis, St. Paul to Paris. Great flight. Plane didn't crash. Got some food. I didn't, you're always doing that thing where I don't want to go too asleep because I don't want to miss a meal or a snack.
Right.
So, of course, they have the free snacks out in the back, and I was just like a little piggy at Halloween. I'll take 13.
How long was your layover in Paris?
That was pretty tight. Coming to get to Copenhagen, I just got through, I had about an hour 20. So I had to go through all that's where we were going through sort of the border police and everything there.
Gotcha.
I never had to claim my luggage and put it through customs. I just had to do a lot of standing in line at immigration. And I just wanted to make it in time to make sure I could have a nice espresso. I had a cortado and a bakery. So made it just in time, everything connected, landed in Denmark on time. I was a day early. And so I hadn't met Kristen or Lars, and they wasn't going to meet them that day. Got to my hotel, took the metro because I'd studied up all these YouTube videos on the Copenhagen airport, how to take the train or the metro, just to eyeball it and go, okay, that seems super simple. It's just a very modern country, and everybody talking about it going, it's very easy. Just bring your suitcase. They have bikes on there. Got to my hotel, checked in. It was wonderful. Zoku Hotel. Spent about an hour there and then just headed up into the city that day just to walk around, walk off the jet lag, and just wander aimlessly. And that's where I ran into Kluten, the girl in the camping store I met, who I saw. So that was how it was for me. It was pretty seamless. Once I said yes, and still had a little doubt that it was really going to happen, but it happened. How about you guys? How did it work for you? And you'd already met these guys, I understand.
Yeah, they came to HangCon, Florida this past January. And once they got there and everything, they wanted to chat with us. And so AJ and I went over and sat down and started talking to them and, met them, introduced ourselves and all that. And then they started telling us about their festival, the Danish Outdoor Festival, and said that they wanted HangCon to be a part of that. And
did you know they were coming, or was this sort of out of the blue?
We knew they were coming.
We knew some people from Denmark were coming.
Yes.
We didn't know that they had any special ties to anything.
Right.
So
I think at that time
them doing a HangCon or anything yet. It was just they were
no, they hadn't mentioned any of that. I don't even know that they had mentioned the Danish Outdoor Festival to us prior to that.
Okay.
To be honest with you. So we're sitting there, and they told us that they wanted HangCon to be a part of their Danish Outdoor Festival and everything, and that they wanted to fly us over and everything. And it's like me and AJ kind of looked at each other like, yeah, are we being punked right now?
Like,
this is just so surreal.
You didn't fly them over, did you?
No.
No.
They came over on their own.
Wow.
But so that's how it started for us. And
so you were feeling pumped, like, we'll fly you over. What?
Yeah.
What now?
Pumped, confused, just kind of, I don't know, it was almost like it was a dream type deal, because it's like,
just imagine where your heads are running on anyway in the midst of battle.
Right.
Oh yeah.
and you get this kind of tossed into the mix.
Yep.
Yeah, like when they originally asked me, it sounded like, oh, we want to put on a hang in Denmark, and my thought process at that time was just like, yeah, putting on a hang is not really that hard. It's just you've got to take care of like certain things and
Right.
just send us your questions. We'll try to answer as much as we can. There's no use us recreating the wheel. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
and
keep
then
moving,
they said,
Sammy. Yeah.
we want to fly you and Paul over. That's when time stopped. I'm like, you have
Yes.
my undivided attention.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
That's
So
wild. They told me they have, because they're a nonprofit, they have money that they have to spend. That's what Christian told me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. I don't feel near as sort of Irish guilty about that now, that you have to spend it anyway. And you're bringing over, what was it? 6 of us, American kind of representatives.
Yeah.
Roundabout. Yeah.
And I know that like Dave
Something like that.
Canterbury was going to be coming. I don't know if he was ever there. I didn't meet him, or I don't know him.
No, he wasn't able to make it, but yeah,
Okay.
he was. I think he was one of the ones that they had talked to, and he wasn't able
the same
to.
thing.
So.
I don't know, man. That's a long way to go.
But so yeah, this was my first time out of the country, my first time ever on an airplane or anything like that. So
that's so,
it was so fun to experience.
I don't know if AJ already had his passport and just had to renew it or what, but I had to, get my passport, which was a whole adventure in its own.
It's not a get it tomorrow thing.
No, it's not. Yeah. And some of the information that they was asking me, have you ever been married? Well, yeah. And then they were asking for, my ex's information and stuff. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't remember that. That's part of my life that I wanted to forget. Now you're bringing it back up. Okay, whatever. We'll figure it out. So
yeah, we
finally
fast tracked both of ours, and it still took like 3 weeks. So
it's a good thing you had time, because they only asked me. I got my email maybe 3 weeks before it was time to go. So I'm glad I had a passport.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean it was.
Right,
I did like that it was. I didn't have 3 months to kind of fret about it and go, do I go? Do I not go? Like it was, I'd rather things be real last minute. Let's just do it and go. And, and of course you guys know, and been just talking to Meg about it nonstop. I'm going, I am so glad I went, and I've been answering comments on the part 1 of the video I just put out, and they're all really positive, and people from the festival that I met are reaching out to me. And not the guys we knew, just people that came and said, "Oh, it was really nice to meet you. Thank you for your time." And and I'm just putting these. Wow, it's that I just keep telling people that trip is just still hanging onto me. I just don't want to shed it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to ask you guys if you think it's because, like, I've been to hangs in Minnesota and a couple in North Carolina. I feel like it was a bit more, the mojo was a bit more powerful because we flew to another country. So we were all kind of out of our states and our life actually in this dropped in this zone. And with the little, I mean, I don't want to get all rah. Some people are saying on the video, it's like, oh, what a great ambassador for the USA. I felt like that was part of it. I wanted just to make a good impression as the average American, or and a hammocker and a camper. But I got there and felt like, well, it's not even hard because they're so cool.
Right.
I don't have any chip on my shoulder. I'm totally open-hearted and letting people in, which I'm not always. Like, I just let it go. Like I was at some hippie fest going, what's happening to me? And it was so good. And just camping in the middle of everybody. And it was,
I think for me, like being, like you said, such out of our element. And because it was a positive experience, that positively almost felt concentrated in a way. And also the festival itself, like it was in Denmark, but even the festival itself was super international. There were people from Norway, Poland, Switzerland, Spain, Italy, the UK, Holland.
Yeah.
I didn't meet any other Americans, though. other than us. But and for you guys, for you two, it must have been really kind of cool because you didn't really have to, other than give a talk, or you didn't really have to do anything either. Like, were they asking you to go around? Could you go around and take notes and tell us how to do things better? Was there any of that? Like,
No.
So
yeah, because in a way, like you said, they offered this experience to us, and as Americans, we kind of like, okay, what do you want in return?
Right.
Nothing in life is free. Like, what do you want, kind of as a payback? And they really said, no, just come over. If
come
you want to
over,
run a
enjoy
class,
yourself.
That's great. Just come over and enjoy the experience.
That's what I felt too. And it was like, I think we spoke at one point there. I said, you'll get more out of me if you ask me not to do anything in life. If you ask me to do a lot, I'm like, oh man, and I just kept going, well, there's got to be a catch. It was like when I found out I had a hammock talk on Sunday, I kind of knew I would, but I thought that, like, in America, someone would come down and text me with all this really hardcore info. And I wasn't checking the schedule every day. I wasn't looking at that at all, because I was just like, man, I have people standing around me talking to me who watch my videos, and I'm just trying to give them all the time in the world that they want. And then, of course, many of them were bringing me Danish candy. So that's a win. But there was no...
And T-shirts.
Yeah, and T-shirt, the liver mush T-shirt, which I'm still kind of got to ask it, because you guys kept saying there's a plan for this, and then we must have never got to it.
Yeah.
So I also, so we have this thing where Paul is like super anti, like the northern version of liver mush, Scrapple, and it's like an inner.
I'm with you.
Dialogue that we have.
It's a cousin. It's not the same.
Yeah. It is.
It's fine.
I don't like the stuff. AJ loves the stuff, but it's almost like I do AJ like I used to do my nieces when they were younger and they liked one football team. So I would always choose the rival team just to be like the bad uncle type thing.
Right.
So me and AJ have this
decal to put on their vehicles. So
no, but every year for Christmas they did get Seminoles merchandise. So AJ has a sticker that I made for him on the back of his truck that says hashtag I love Scrapple, but the S is like probably only a quarter of an inch tall, and the rest of the letters are like 2 inches tall. So it looks like it says hashtag I love Crapple.
Scrapple
I was on my way to a camping trip, and this lady stops me at a stoplight, and she's like, roll down your window. And I'm like, what? She's like, what's Crapple? I'm like, oh no.
Well, see, Scrapple doesn't have the caramel coloring, so it doesn't have that gray tone to it, which is, my dad ate Scrapple raw with mustard as a kid.
Ugh.
I mean, not Scrapple, liver mush. Like, he'd say, son, you can eat this raw. It's already cooked and brewed. You don't have to cook. And he loved it fried too, but he would come home from work from the lumber company sometimes and lop himself off a couple pieces of liver mush with some mustard cold. So that's my first introduction to it, was cold. And
I've never had it cold.
It's fine. I mean, you got to be hungry. It's just cold. It's like eating Spam cold, which I don't mind.
Okay, all right. I can relate to that.
You cook the Spam and you kind of go, oh, it's taken on another dimension. But you eat it cold, camping, just squeezing it right up out of the little pouch, going, it's wonderful. You really get all the grease, and the flavors are actually really powerful.
There is something about eating Spam out in the woods that it's another level.
Spam in the woods has a different flavor than it does at home.
Spam, a Pop-Tart, many things in the woods. Hey, so if we come to HangCon, because you can't get liver mush in Florida, can you?
No, you can get Scrapple, but you cannot get liver mush.
Yeah. Then we will bring down a cooler of liver mush for the chosen few. And then we can make some, what I want to do is make some liver mush schmidbutter. Get some good bread, butter, lay the liver mush, put some mustard and some stuff on it. And I mean, Hickory gets his pie irons and cooks liver mush. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, a cube of liver cooked in a pie iron. And Hicks is he's a pie iron pro. He won't even let me touch his pie irons. He oils them, he cleans them. He just cooks for me. I don't even have to mess with it, and it's the perfect crunch inside and out.
Oh man.
I mean,
hey, so if there's gonna be liver mush there,
there will be liver mush.
I know Christian and them were trying to, they were giving us different foods to try, and
They will be Christian's.
I think Christian's goal was to try and find something that we did not like, which he failed with me anyhow, because everything that I tried was just phenomenal. I mean, even I know we butcher every time we try and say it, but the schmorple. Schmorble.
Fancy open face.
I will get it by next year.
The fancy open face sandwich.
You just take that one piece take that white bun, put some pork barbecue on it, put a little bit of slaw, maybe put a pickle on it. You got some smorboard. I mean, it's really you do. You got to add the butter. Like, oh man, a big spread of butter under the barbecue. Oh man.
So the southern redneck version of that is schmorble. Schmorble.
I do
use make some marble sandwiches.
Yeah. I do use a brioche bun with my barbecue now. I just really like a brioche bun. It's so airy and good. But
speaking of food, so we all got to our destination, and then
this was on Tuesday.
Yeah, so this was Tuesday, and we were transported to our first stop, which was not the hang spot, was this really awesome Viking hut.
Yeah. Now, who drove you? Who picked you guys up and drove you? How did you get there to the Viking hut?
Was it? I'm gonna feel bad for forgetting his name.
Martin.
I'm terrible with names.
Yes, it was Martin.
Yes. Sort of their friend who was there, right?
Yes. Yes,
because he couldn't stay that night. He was coming back the next. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
So we all got packed into there after our flight. So our flight.
Yeah, some of us were a little more comfortable in the car than others.
Again, this is Paul Hayton again.
Because somebody decides to holler shotgun, and so he gets up front. Huh? No. It would be the other one here that you and I are speaking to. Okay. He jumps up front with, I think he had a little tote with him, and that's it. There's myself, Corey, and Dawn in the back. Poor Dawn was in the center. Me and Corey have suitcases all on top of us.
Well, that's me and AJ just piled with luggage. Yeah.
And AJ, every once in a while, he would just turn around and look just so comfortable up front with all this room around them.
I mean, somebody had to do it.
This is what I've been wondering, because it was totally a clown car when Kristen pulled up to pick me up.
Oh, it was for us too.
My suitcase on top. I was going, it's not going to fit. You're watching three people going, oh, it will make everything fit. I'm going, it's not. I'm just going to start flashing. I brought paracord going, something's telling me to bring this. So we lashed my suitcase on top. And me and Mr. Mock were in the back. We had everything on us. I couldn't turn my head to look out the window. I just talked to Mr. Mock about hammocks. And it didn't matter, because by then the journey was on. It's just sort of like,
right,
we're going to a Viking hut. Let's see how this plays out.
Now, where did they pick you up to go there?
They drove to my hotel after they. I think they went to the airport to pick up. Let's see. So when you guys
picked us up from the airport.
Okay, so they picked you up at the airport. So they must have grabbed Luciano or Mr. Mock. I don't know, because I was already in a day early. So I was.
It had to have been Luciano because Weston had been there for a few days.
Oh man.
Yeah, Weston had already been there for a couple of days.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And Mr. Mock, I found out, had stayed at Christian's house. I'm thinking, how'd you wing that? Unless he met him at HangCon.
I think he had gotten there a couple of days earlier. And
he wasn't flying back out to that following Thursday too.
Oh, yeah, okay. He was there for almost 2 weeks. He was there for almost 2 weeks. So, but yeah, I know for us it was like an hour drive from the airport to the Viking hut.
Yeah, same for us. About an hour.
Okay.
And then we get to a Viking hut, and there's kids running around everywhere, and it's just kind of like, oh, okay. There's a little soccer field, a football pitch right next to the Viking hut, and I knew that we were going to be fed, and I hadn't met Lars yet, but did you guys get the same thing? The minute you stepped into that Viking hut, you go, oh, and see this big pot of Brunswick stew cooking, go, oh.
My exact thoughts. I was like, this is going down.
Like, it's dark and gloomy, and this is awesome with, elk pelts and everything, and full of Danes. And, you meet Lars, and he's like the keyboard player with some Danish funk band, and he's cooking the wild boar and chorizo and
stew,
carrots and potatoes, and how he had time to do this on top of everything else he was doing, I don't know. And then we see where we're sleeping. Oh gosh, because I kept asking, where are we sleeping tonight? And Christian said, there's a little bit of woods behind. You will sleep there. And I'm going, okay. I didn't want to ask this before, but I was going, do I go back to the hotel because I didn't book it? I don't know. But that was great right back there where we got to sleep. And to me, that was like,
place was gorgeous back there.
Now the journey has really begun.
Yep. And then having that, which I didn't drink because I don't drink alcohol, but they had the bartender making the different, what were they, AJ? I know you.
Yeah. So they had a few different types of Danish gin that they were making. And these drinks, it almost looked like a work of art. It was almost like a vegetable salad thrown into a cocktail.
Yeah. He was making
so many things. I forget
his name, but he was good, and he made me a non-alcoholic drink that still had all
I had one too,
berries and everything, and just beautiful, like that they did that. Plus with Jonas making mead to bring to everybody. Thinking, oh, now there's mead, and he made
what I thought was neat was he created two drinks for that night, and he called one of them the Hammock, and one of them the other one was called the HangCon.
It was like a cool private party with some of their invited guests. And then there was the other American couple I didn't know, but I just assumed the husband and wife that weren't really.
They were actually from Georgia.
Okay. Yeah. I knew they weren't from around there. And I think they've been over a time. So, it wasn't.
I think they've been already over a couple times.
I mean, I'm glad we didn't have to do this thing where we go in a circle like an American, get up and say your name and who you are. Just let it kind of flow. And then, and by the end, after we'd eaten and everything, I have it on video. Just everybody's just talking in their own little pockets and yelling out. Mm-hmm. And it was just, to me, it was perfect. It wasn't real controlled, yet there was a lot of stuff to offer. Okay, everybody, we need your attention now. Like there was none of that. It just went. Just kind of
just a very organic gathering.
It wasn't organic.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was. It didn't feel like it was the first time that we had done that.
No,
you know what I'm saying? It felt normal. It felt natural.
I'm wearing my HangCon. Like I got home, Meg says, "You never wear bracelets. You're wearing yours too." That's so funny.
Yes, it is not love my wrist.
I mean, this is part of me hanging on to it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't
100%.
I don't wear a lot of adornment other than my wedding ring, but I've been wearing this going, I might wear it a long time. I like the little buckle. I mean, the way the guy gave it to us, it was very casual.
Yeah.
It was like getting those Helle knives. What do you mean? You're giving us these? And Meg wanted mine. So I went online and looked. The one I picked was $199.
Really?
I was looking at their site. So on the contact thing, I just thanked them. I said, hey man, I was one of the Americans at the HangCon thing in Europe, and they gave away some of your knives, which I assume they donated this for them to do.
Right.
And they wrote me right back going, thanks so much. Hope you enjoy it. I was pretty like, the minute I had it in my hand, it became a part of me, and I was the first thing it cut. Actually, it was the Schmerbert. But Meg was going, that's a nice knife. I said, I can't give you this one. Oh, I don't really want it. I know she does. Her birthday's coming up. I'm going to get her one. But I was going, no, these are well crafted $200, and mine's a little.
Right.
Yeah, it like when I looked at it, I was like, oh, like this is not some factory made kind of piece like this.
Oh no. And I saw them laying there, and I thought it was just part of the display for us to see.
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
You know,
right.
I didn't even click that they might go. And they're, you know, Christian was so, pick a knife, they're for you. And I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, I was the same way. I saw him sitting there, but I didn't think anything about it.
You know, and at this point, I was still in that. I was eager to end up and see where this whole festival was going to happen. So then we sleep in the woods that night, and it was a great sleep. And Corey and I are up at 4:30, and I'm watching back on my video, editing this thing, going, oh, it was dark still. And then Corey came over, and we had some coffee, and then it was really interesting to see on my video when we first got to the where the big mansion was. That was the king's hunting castle.
Yeah, right there where the festival was.
Still all green, and by the end, when we left, it was like Woodstock. But it was like,
oh my goodness! Like when I was looking at your video and I saw so much grass, I was like, oh no, that grass is not going to be there.
No.
But I never heard one person complaining about mud or rain.
Nope.
And I'm talking about the people that came to just be there. You know, it's just like nobody was going, oh, it's so muddy. I mean, I couldn't have understood them maybe, but I wasn't getting that vibe, you know. And as a vendor sitting up in the rain, that's tough.
Yes.
You know, it just doubles your workload.
Now I know Christian and Lars was telling us that last year they had 13,000 people that came through and about 150 hammock hangers back there in the woods. This year, they doubled everything. They had over 26,000 come through, and there was over 300 hammock campers back there in the woods this year.
And that's even with Friday kind of being a wash.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Friday it pretty much rained all day.
And they said Friday was still good. They said, you know, they kept going 5 o'clock Danish time, like people get off work and go do stuff. And he said, and Lars was telling me, oh, people will come. But he had told me, he said, Shug, you know, we got way more people Friday than we thought we'd get. So, I mean, it bodes well. I love to hear people's numbers, whether it's a state fair, county fair, a HangCon, any event that I'm associated with. If their numbers are good, it makes me feel good. Like you weren't a jinx on the thing, or whatever. I just wonder.
It's good to hear them be successful and, you know, adding this, you know, again, like you said, adding something that we were a part of, enrich the event. That makes my heart happy.
Right. I know it was so much fun though. I am really looking forward to next year.
And I wonder if they'll do it at the same location.
I think the plan is to do it at that location. So, like you said, the area that we were at is the site of a royal palace that the king used for hunting that they're actually using now to house Ukrainian refugees.
Correct.
Which I thought was cool too. Right. There's like a big lake there that was the scene. I don't know if you guys were back there when they were talking about, remember Friday, right at sunset, there was a lady that kind of brought us over to this one little spot, and she was looking across the lake. I guess it was that location with around that time of day was the picture of some famous painting that was very famous for that particular area. But I want to say even Friday with all the rain and things, their car camping and tent camping area was completely full.
I never even got over to see any.
I didn't either.
I didn't make it down that far.
I only got as far as where the water was. That was as far as I got. And I said, this is all I need to see. You know,
I think I had walked. So Friday morning before the festival actually opened and everything, I had woke up early and I walked down to where the I don't know the guy's name, but there was a huge mansion, and the guy that owned that mansion holds the patent for the hydraulics or something hydraulic. So the trail between where the festival was and where the overland tent area was, the trail walks right behind his house.
Oh, on down the lake. You went that far.
Yeah, on down and around.
Really a walkabout, weren't you? Yeah.
A little bit of one. But it was pretty down there and everything. But I didn't make it all the way to the tent area before turning around. But
Friday morning we got our schmarble.
Yeah,
schmarble. It was the fanciest. Schmarble.
I loved how every time we'd say it, the Danes would say it. It was like we're going to get it right the second time. I mean, God bless them. And it was, I mean, for them to do that was fantastic, wasn't it? And
yes.
Just like, I'm making.
And also, like some of the toppings, like I've never eaten anything remotely close to that, and it was just so. Like I'm a big foodie anyway, so just trying something completely new.
The eggs with the shrimp, the potato with all the stuff, like really.
Yeah.
See, I never thought about
boiled potato on some bread and butter with a bunch of little pretties on top, but man,
it was something else.
The two that I tried the one that had like the lobster whatever with the shrimp in it. That was the one to the far end closest to the lake area.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried the other one that had the beef with some sort of, I think it was some sort of mango type stuff, and then the fried onion,
all the
things on it, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, you got to admit, to me, I was telling Meg, I said, it wasn't just that they brought it; it's where we had it down by the lake. It's pre-festival. Yes. We're in this total kind of high. We're set up by now, and it's being served to us. And then meeting Annette, which is Christian's mother-in-law. The Danish woman that had the white sweater and the fur hat. She looked the white hair. She looked so Danish. She's talking to me right away. She's a pilgrim. And it was just the whole scene. And then the man Martin comes walking up, who I communicate. He comments on my videos. And he said he was going to come. And he walked up then. And he's got a hobo bag of candy and stuff for me. And you're just going, it's kind of the everything, not just the food, but
right.
The whole picture, and we hadn't even talked yet about how just cool all the hammockers were back in our world, and how they just grew around us because we were the first 5 people hanging our hammocks, and it just
that's what I thought was funny when we
we're looking around like, boy, I hope there's enough places.
I know, right? I mean, I didn't realize it went back as far as what it did.
I didn't either.
So
we didn't know.
when we walked back there, dragging our luggage through the woods, which was exciting.
Oh my gosh!
Which I will never do.
That was an experience.
That big,
Right? But I remember, us setting up and everything, and then AJ, Don, and I had gone into town and got something to eat, and which we'll talk about that restaurant in a minute. That was pretty interesting, little cafe. But when we got back, or actually when we left there, it had started raining a little bit, so we got back. And so, of course, it's raining. I'm up under, my tarp, get in the hammock and, do what anybody else would do and take a little nap, And so I think I probably dozed off for probably a couple of hours at least. And whenever I got up and, got out of the hammock and came out from up under the tarp, I looked around. I was like, holy crap, where did all these people come from?
Yeah,
it was just like...
And it was sort of quiet. It was just done kind of quietly. And it was amazing. By the end, I was walking around filming, and it was just going, man, they were everywhere. And then if you went walking around the road, there were even pockets of hammocks that the folks that went way back on their own, there were even more that maybe didn't want to, be in the thick of it all. But it seemed to me like most people really wanted to kind of be in the thick of it all and socialize quietly. Or, I heard you guys have different experiences than I had. Corey was talking about, I was up at a little place or maybe that was you, AJ. We're sitting in the middle of the road, and I was like, I missed that, but I was down with some guys named Frederick and Nils talking, and I would come back from my meet and greets really tired, but I wasn't ready to crawl in and stop yet. I wanted to, because the conversation was different back in our hammock world at night with the people that were hanging there. And well, what conversation can I go weasel in on? And of course, all the snoring and so cool. It was just, I didn't meet anybody really that put me off at all.
No.
Oh, I didn't either. Which was
speaking of people
awesome.
that we met, I did, and you mentioned them in your video. The couple that set up right next to you.
Oh, that you jumped in and helped. Yeah.
Oh Lord, I saw them and all the anxiety came. I was like, oh, you're gonna be miserable. This ain't gonna work out well for you.
They had no insulation whatsoever, did they?
None.
I mean, they were right next to me. Like their lines were coming into my area. And normally I would have been like, hey man, there's plenty of room. But there I was going, again, Shug, just let it go, let it be. It's not, it's just a hang. There's a couple tips.
Right.
Tarpaulin. I got to change I was kind of coming in and out here. But I saw you jumping and help them. And I even have that a little bit on video, just going, that was so cool you did. But I heard them tossing and turning all night long.
Yeah.
That thing, well, if I roll on my side, maybe I'll warm up. Maybe if I roll on the other side, and that was a cold night.
Yeah, it was.
Damp, cold, rainy.
I think we had a little bit of rain that night too.
Yeah, it was like 38 degrees, 39 degrees. Just had kind of that bone in your soul chill a little bit. And
yeah, I heard them. I woke up and I heard them around 6:00 that morning. It was before the sun came up, and I had no idea literally what they were saying. But listening to the tone of their voice, I knew exactly what they were saying with each other.
I was thinking that she said, "I'm cold," and he went, "Yeah, me too. Let's back it up."
Yeah,
we had our fun. We saw it. And they were using sort of Home Depot tarps. Kind of making it work, but. I was just hoping that it didn't wreck like they go,
yes.
Let's just go back to our tents. Like, no, you just got to learn to bring a pad or insulate.
Yeah. I hope it didn't ruin their whole hammocking, what they think hammocking is. I hope they try it again. I hope they do a little more research and, learn about the quilts and all that stuff and try it again the way that it should be done.
See, if I could have brought my trailer over, I'll be like, hey, I got some extra gear that I can just throw.
I know, right?
Me too. I would have. I always have any hang here. I always have extras in my car just in case. Even like a spare
HangCon, for HangCon, I drag all my stuff, and I think AJ drags at least a 16th of his.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you always have people that are new to hammocking and they don't understand the insulation properties of hammock camping. Like, it's not the same as sleeping on the ground. You need insulation even when it's warm.
Right.
You gonna get cold.
And they probably more than likely took a look around when they were cold going, seems like there's a lot of warm people here. So maybe we're, it's that thing where you what happens with our winter hangs here, people jump in sometimes because it looks fun, but they're not prepared, and all the way, even if they're from up north here, it's like they've never winter camped, they've never gone to anything 20 degrees or below and just sort of get cold.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing with HangCon down here, because since we have people coming from all over, we're going to Florida, it's going to be warm. Well, it's not always warm down here. I mean, we do have a couple of days that, it gets cold.
It's been a few years since we've had a HangCon where I would say, it's been warm. Like, we usually have 1 or 2 days where, it's going to get down into the low 40s, maybe even the 30s at night.
Yeah, at night. I was looking when I watched that video of Spagivers, just what people were wearing, because there's Florida cold, as you guys know. I'm doing exclamation 60 degrees, and you see people wear, hey, I got the confetti. 60 degrees, and people are wearing it down park. But again, 60 degrees can be really chilly. 60 ain't 80. It can be if the sun's not on you and it's not a sunny day and it's damp, it can be quite chilly. And
Yeah.
hey, let me ask you for the HangCon Florida, do you get a lot of people? I know you get some Canadians, but do you get anybody else flying in other than Lars and Christian from Denmark? Or
we had some folks from the UK fly in this year as well.
You did?
Yeah.
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 How did they
I
fare?
think
Did they have
they done
fun?
pretty good.
Yeah. We
didn't hear anything negative.
Yeah.
From them.
We're going to Disney World.
So, now I think next year, next January is going to be a little different because we've already been warned that there's going to be quite a few
a large delegation of Danish.
Yeah,
that's what
envoy.
Did you guys meet Klaus? Klaus was one of the guys who was always around when they were building the stages. How do I describe him? He looked Danish. He had a hat on and square glasses.
A guy with a beard. Oh, yeah.
Him and I kind of connected because because I just jumped up for an hour and helped him work on the stage.
Yeah.
And then he looked at me and then he kind of went and got the boombox and brought up this sort of Australian party funk band, which he just sent me the link to yesterday. And he commented on my video going, "Will I see you in Florida?" And I said, I think you will, because he said, "I'm thinking of coming." So was it him that mentioned, or we don't know if there's a limit of how many of us, but it sounds like there might be some Danes coming,
Yeah, like, so Christian said, do you want me to limit, like, how many people to bring on? I was like, bring it on.
Bring them all.
Bring it on.
Bring everybody.
Because it's the only thing now that we all met through our hammocking. I mean, we were all there together. That last day, and you guys came over, and Corey and I were at the Danish camp with the big flag with a girl from Danish, and we were just all talking, and they came out, and it was like, man, that to me was like, I hadn't seen that camp. I hadn't even met a lot of those people because I feel like they were just kind of hanging around their camp to just hang out in camp. I don't even know if they were interested in the festival part. And they go, "That's the girl who's been on Alone here in Denmark twice." And they had the big pile of beer cans over there. And they were so cool. And just how we all crawled out, and there we were. And you're just talking like it's like a family reunion. You got a couple of cousins you haven't seen since you were 3. And now you're in your 40s or 60s. And it's just like, just pick right up. And I felt like with all those people, I'd met them before. It was just such a good feeling.
That's how I felt like. It was, I guess, Saturday night was when. So one of the things that, because of the area that we were at, they were not allowed to do campfires. So that's the one thing that I missed. But somebody had brought an oil lamp and it set it in literally the middle of the road of that backyard thing. And we were just huddled around there, and just, there was the guys from Tensa came over, or Tensile came over, and we were talking.
The British guy?
Yeah, the British guy. And
I met him. He was just
talking
about Alex and Robert.
Yeah,
the two
just
brothers.
Talking about dad stuff. And, we had some more people come in, talk about Denmark. We talked about how the Danish language is very different than American or English, and just American culture versus Danish culture, and just the types of conversations that we had it wasn't like it wasn't. It was just a sharing of information and sharing of knowledge, and just this very comfortable shared experience. And that tiny moment, that was probably maybe one of my favorite moments of the entire festival, was like that quiet moment.
I so agree, because it is that thing of like the hammock talk. Everybody kind of knew what they were doing. We all get set in our ways. It wasn't like anybody needed instruction or help, and nobody said, "Oh, Shug, would you like to come check my rig?" It's like, yeah, it looks good. You're fine. We'll talk. Everybody was pretty well set. So it was funny. We met like exactly what you said. You get in a conversation, and within 5 minutes, you're talking about the things, beyond the gear, beyond the hammocks, just life stuff. And that was, AJ, I have the same experience. Every conversation went into being American, being Danish, being American Indian, talking. Rune and I sat up one night, and we just talked about how we grew up. And, I said, being in show business, a lot of people think you're the most, we're actors in showbiz, and you throw out a persona, but I go, well, really, it's driven by a lack of self-confidence and even self-loathing, and talking about ourselves being kids and the lessons we learn and how you decide to step forth in life and embrace more rather than run away from things, and on and on and on. A huge, deep conversation that brought us up to current day. So the hammock, kind of what I was talking in my little talk I didn't know I was going to do that I did, but I kind of knew I was going to do, just didn't know when. It was that brought us to this place where we just went to other areas with people that we never met, and which always happens in hangs, but no one was asking for a how to.
Right.
At all.
Yeah, it was just in the conversation, like you were saying, it felt like a family reunion of you were having these conversations and you just felt comfortable just wearing your heart on your sleeve and just going with it.
I shared more as a human in that week, and particularly that weekend, those 3 days, than I have in a long time. And it's like when I do my videos, I've told people before, I said, yeah, you're seeing me. That is honestly me, what you see. But I'm taking my camera and my editing, and I can curate what I want you to see of all the footage I shot. I take out any F-bombs or everything. You've met me in life now. I can be a bit salty, but my videos are like my shows. I want to keep them clean so I don't embarrass anybody. In life, a little less. I'm willing to roll the dice there a little bit. And, sometimes people forget that over this powerful, medium of video. It's like watching a movie where you hate an actor at the end of the movie. They acted it so well.
Right.
They made you hate them. And it's that thing on YouTube. It is. And I really felt that and thought about that a lot on this trip. And is what sometimes has kept me away from going to do things, is going, what I said earlier, I don't want to let people down because I'm not the guy they see. But I really, this weekend, and I don't even like to say it, Martin told me to do it. Just let it in, Shug. You are a big part of the hammock community. People do like you. And he says, once you meet you are the guy you see, but eventually you taper it down. But you're in the heart of it, you are the guy that we see on video. But you're not walking around all the time going, let me tell you about whoopee slings. It's like, I could do a video on how to make whoopee slings, and in two months, I can't remember how to make a whoopee sling.
You have to go back and watch an old video.
I have to go back every winter when I go winter camping. I go back and watch my winter camping videos to see what I was wearing. Oh yeah, kind of forgot what I bring, because a year is gone by. So I go see what I'm wearing. Oh, okay, yeah, that chat. Oh, I do bring that. I better put that in the back. So, that was. Just interesting on different levels, where the Danes don't say so much to you like, oh, you are like you are on videos. They don't put that out. Or did you guys even hear this? I didn't hear this from anybody. Oh, it was really nice to meet an American. You're very different than I thought you would be. I didn't hear that from anybody. They're taking you as the human that you're meeting, not this representative of an entire nation, which I thought was just great. Just seeing you as a person. I took note of that. It's a great way to look at life.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And just how the Danish culture is and how they look at life and just how they look at just specifically outdoor experiences. And I kind of felt the same way with that appreciation of that outdoor time, the same way in the woods as I felt in the city as well. When we were in Copenhagen and we were walking through the city, I saw people just outside, and you can just tell they were genuinely appreciative and enjoying of just that time of just being outside.
That's what I thought was neat. Just the amount of people that I saw, just sitting outside along the river, reading a book, or, just, I saw a couple of people that were just out there, taking a nap, which I thought was pretty neat, and, just enjoying outdoors.
It was interesting that, I don't like to mix political talk, financial talk, or anything when I'm camping. No real world stuff, really. And barely got into any, but one of the guys down at the Hammock thing was just talking about Bjorn, big tall guy, looked like a NFL linebacker, and he was one of for the monarchy in Denmark. He was wearing sort of a camo suit, but he had like a really cool badge on. So he was kind of like, when you watch The Crown or you see the Queen's guards with the big fuzzy hat, he was one of those, but for the Danish monarchy.
Oh,
okay.
And he was just telling me, he says, we pay a lot of taxes, but he said, we've kind of, which is why we're happy, because he's going, like, when we get old, if we have to go in a assisted living home, it's paid for. They will pay our kids to go to college, but we do pay for it in our taxes. But he said, we've kind of lost a little bit of it's that thing of going, you could just say in today's society, that survival spirit that we have, because you kind of get like, oh, I'm taken care of, so I don't feel the need to struggle. And then, you've heard that about our society, like they'll, go, we don't know how to hunt anymore, or start a fire in the woods because we don't need to.
Right.
Until end of times. And I'm kind of going, when is that I've been hearing about that for a long time, but that was interesting, of the lack of people just really wanting to bring that up too much, or they just didn't seem to want to. There weren't a lot of questions like, now in America does this, like that wasn't even really there for
that was something that I was kind of worried about, because like yourself, when I heard that we were going over, I went on YouTube and like how American Danish culture, because when you go over, you don't want to like do something stupid that we would brush off here, and it's like a big major insult, or
right,
exactly.
So one of the things they said, they're very intrigued about America, or like certain types of American stereotypes. So I was really worried about like getting a lot of questions and having to say, well, it's not really like that, or
exactly.
But I didn't get like the questions that I got. You could definitely tell came from just a pure point of curiosity, and vice versa. Like we were talking about on the way over to the festival, we were talking, and I said, hey, what does the camping look like here? Do you guys have like national parks that you guys can go in, land uses? He's like, oh, well, we can go into like government owned land and we can camp and everything, but I can't use a tarp.
Right.
Well,
yes.
Why can't, that seems so weird. Like, why can't you use a tarp? He said, because they're outlawed. If you have a tarp over your shelter, that insinuates that you're looking at staying, and that's illegal.
Right. Long term.
Yeah. So
they had a loophole for that. I remember hearing about that a couple times. Like, if you don't put a stake in the ground, then you're not camping, or something. I found when I would go, for me, the Boundary Waters, I drive 5.5 hours. And they went, you could see their look, like we would be in another country. And more than anything, you forget that they're amazed at just the mass of the U.S., our land mass.
Right.
It's like Corey was saying, well, I'm 3.5 hours from Shug. So when, Corey brought me from Majestic Hammocks, brought me a hammock there that I had ordered. And, he had to build it for me. So do you know this? Like, so he's going to give it to me there. And I was so busy, I never even got a chance to lay in a Majestic hammock. But Martin, the man I met, my YouTube guy, came down when I came back from one of my meet and greets, and he says, Shug, it shouldn't be possible. I'm going, what, Martin? He goes, Corey's hammock. It shouldn't be possible how it feels and how it lays. Like you, Paul, when I asked you, like, what is it about it? Everybody goes, I don't know. And so Martin wanted it so bad. I was just like, well, then I have one here. Why don't you just buy this one? Why don't you just take the one that's right here? No. Very Danish, would not hear of it. And Corey okayed it. So we finally made the deal. I said, look, my heart wants you to have it. Corey can make me another one. He's 3.5 hours from me. 3.5 hours. It's like, no, it's really not that far. It's kind of, to do something worthy. So through that exchange, it's funny because I had bought my hammock from Corey because I've been hearing ever since your HangCon, and this is, Shug, Majestic Hammocks, thoughts? I'm going, never heard of it. I don't know anything. People ask me on it coming up on hammock forums. I'm going, I don't know anything about them. And why don't you have one? I'm going, well, usually people offer me one, like, hey, I'd like you to just take a look and give me your thoughts on my hammock, hoping that I'll make a video. And I never heard from Corey. And he said, I didn't want to bother you. I didn't really know you. I didn't need your approval. So it's funny, since I got back from this, he's already like reimbursed my money. Going, well, now I know you. I don't want you to pay for it, but I'm going to build you a new one. And I'm more like, maybe I'll drive down to your house to get it from you. Maybe I can film a little bit of your shop. Like maybe we can do a quid pro quo or something like that with each other. So it's just sort of funny that going there and meeting each other, meeting you guys on the Danish turf, there's just like this bond that's just different. It's hard to put your finger on. Like, why wouldn't it be just as strong if we all met in Alabama at a hang going, I don't know. I can't tell you. It's just, I'm not smart enough to tell you. It's like Corey's Majestic Hammocks. What makes it different? Man,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's the fabric, the cut, it's just, that's everybody's.
Yeah. He won't tell me what the secret is, but I mean, that's why I made my switch. Corey's a great guy. I was trying to get him on with us tonight, but he had stuff come up that
his
he had to
daughter's
deal
going
with, the prom or something. Yeah, so they were out doing photo shoots and all that. But
yeah, and he's probably got to lean on that young man, going, "Hey, listen here. You ever been choked out with some 7/64 am steel? Lash you up like a pig. I'll hog tie you if you don't have my daughter home by midnight." But I really like, I just, again, I feel this, I was looking forward to talking to you guys because I've kind of missed y'all since then. There was that weird thing when we were saying on text today, like it seemed to end so quickly, and it's just us standing in this field and everybody's gone. It was kind of like, this is like a sad movie. And now
I know, right?
Like none of us.
I've never gone to a bad hang. Like every hang that I've been to has been awesome. But like we were talking earlier, when this one ended, I don't think I've ever been as sad to leave a hang as I was this one.
I know, and
that's even counting our hang here that we do.
I know.
Yes, yeah.
You guys are exhausted on yours, but here you had carte blanche to kind of be just a hammocker, And I came back, had my little talk after yours, AJ, and then I was kind of wandered a bit and came back. I'm going, everybody's gone, but us.
Oh, they busted out. I've never seen a camping area clean.
I mean, it was like, and I was kind of like, it felt like, or it's like it didn't even happen. It's like us when we first got here, and the few of us just set up. It was like they were gone. There's none of this thing like, a lot of hangs here. I know Hickory out and we'll do it at some of his hangs, and I've done it up here. I'm going to stay that extra day because everybody's gone, and maybe 3, 4, 5 of us stay an extra night. Just basic debrief, kind of. I don't have to be anywhere, but I was sad too. It was walking up to the train was like, man, weird pulling that suitcase going to catch this train. Going, I hope you guys are still at the station so we can ride together at least. And
we can mistakenly sit in first class and get kicked out. And
but I do
know before
he was nice about it, and then he kept his eye on us. Like gave us a head nod, like this is where you need to get off. Like he was not mean about it. He was kind of like, this is first class. Some other seats.
Well, I know before we all walked out of the woods, dragging our luggage, looking like hobos coming out of the forest. When AJ and Don and I went up to, see Christian and Lars and, thank them for everything and tell them bye and all that, we all, hugged and all that. And then me and AJ just kind of looked at each other like, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave. And so it's probably a good thing
that just says something huge, doesn't it?
It's probably a good thing that Don was there. To
bring us back, taking down the stage and things like that. Like when I saw like the pack up and stuff, I almost instinctively went into, all right, end of HangCon. I know all the crap that they've got to go through to get this place. So I almost like, all right, well, we can put our luggage here. They need help taking down the stage. They need help, making sure vendors are off. They need help. Yeah, if Don hadn't been there, we wouldn't have gotten on the train.
Well, I tell people. I don't think
we were expected. That wasn't an expectation.
Oh no, it wasn't.
No, it absolutely wasn't.
And they're probably just like, I bet really in their hearts, like you guys at HangCon, just go on and it'll be a clean parting. Then we won't have to get too mushy and keep doing the Irish goodbye. Like that's what I was thinking, because I thought the same thing. I should go pitch in a little, but I was watching it going, it's kind of crazy. Lars has his shirt off carrying stuff. Like, what do I do? It's not like just putting a few screws on stage, but yeah, it was, I just think that speaks volumes of how we all felt. Like, didn't want it to end. But then I had a great day. Remember we talked, maybe we'd hook up for lunch, but I was going all day and had to get down to my airport hotel eventually.
Right.
Yeah, we saw you as you were waving in your cab as we are caravanning with 800 pounds of luggage. As you're like,
that was my in-town hotel. So I just did a whole day of eating in cafes and stopped at 3 bakeries and had the avocado toast and had my.
Well, I know that morning I would have texted you earlier about meeting up and all that stuff, but we got a late start that morning because AJ found a espresso machine in our hotel at the breakfast area.
Like I had not had like literally legitimate good coffee. I mean, I had like the instant stuff and that like worked, but I wanted like a real coffee, and they had an espresso machine.
I had 5 cortados that day I walked around town. And, I'm really back into the cortado now. You know what that is? It's kind of a 1-to-1 ratio with espresso and steamed milk. Just sort of, not as much as a latte or cappuccino. And they just were beautiful. And it's just fun to go, cortato. And so by the time about 3:00, I headed on down to my airport hotel. And there was like a little seafood place I was going to walk to. I was beat by then. I just got room service. I had a great Caesar salad and had to get up at 2:30 in the morning to go catch my plane. So it's kind of all right, party's over. But I had a fantastic walking around day that last day in Copenhagen. I can't wait to put part 2 of the video out, because the video came out.
Did you ever make it down? Did you ever make it to that Christiania?
I never went into town proper.
Okay.
It was kind of.
We never made it to Christiania. What is it, AJ?
I can go to a place here in town that's where everybody's smoking weed, and I kind of. To me, that wasn't that unusual. I grew up around that, going, it's just a bunch of hippies and anarchists. I'm sure it's cool. I'd really rather go to a really good bakery, and so I never made it. It's not that I didn't want to see it. And my last day, I just did the wander, and I was just, I love looking at architecture, and not always just the main, what they tell you to look at, just local, just buildings that you see. It's just like, oh, wow. How cool. This is just amazing.
Donald was definitely rolling your eyes as like me, Paul, and Corey are walking around, and we're like taking pictures of like leaves and how they're climbing up the walls, and the trellises, and just random things at different angles, and she's just like, oh my gosh.
It felt weird that
me and Corey, when we were taking pictures. We were getting all into it. A couple of pictures like laying down on the ground, getting different angles, pointing up and everything. And
but didn't it feel weird waking up in the hotel and not in your hammock? It was kind of weird. Man, I had some of those earwigs in my room. I know they were in my suitcase. 3 of the earwigs crawling around. I still got leaves falling out of stuff. And it's like, man, talk about Beverly Hillbillies, back in the big city again. And I'm telling everybody at the hotel about this festival and HangCon, and they were really nice to me. And I love the girl at my hotel said, Mr. Emery, I got to tell you, you're a very joyful American. And I'm going, not everybody that stays at the hotel is like that. I'm going, yeah, but I am anyway. But because they kept offering me free whiskey, I'm going, I don't drink. Don't you have a milkshake or anything? Because I would take 5. Got a licorice milkshake. But I said, I'm coming from a place where I'm so overjoyed. I just kind of want to share what we were doing,
Right.
And, and then on the plane, I had a real nice woman next to me. We didn't have to talk much or anything. And I could see she was dreading sitting next to me, but we weren't having to bump elbows, and flight home was the flight home, it's fine.
Now, you just mentioned a licorice ice cream. Is that, we don't have that over here, do we?
We do, but it's really hard to find.
Do we?
And
Okay. I know I've never seen it.
Time to time.
I have
recipes. Okay. Yeah, you can go online and find them. You have to make this licorice goo first, and then you swirl it into vanilla ice cream. But Baskin Robbins used to have licorice voodoo. It was my dad's favorite. So my dad turned me on to liver mush, licorice ice cream. We would drive all the way across town in Charlotte, North Carolina, to go to Baskin Robbins. We didn't have one on our side on the west side, Coolwood. We didn't have that. West South 29. What you want? What flavor do you want? Because we got strawberry, vanilla, or chocolate, and we ain't mixing them for you. We ain't Dairy Queen. And my dad was always like, "Son, soft serve. That's a cry for help." He says, "You want to see a person scooping, and so it's very rare. There's, like I say, there's 2 or 3 places in town here that'll have it. It's hit or miss.
Okay.
It's just not popular.
But I would say, like, we got to try some real Danish licorice at the festival. Somebody brought some over, and Danish licorice is still very different than American licorice. And we're talking about the black stuff. The red stuff
that's red candy.
That's not licorice.
Cruton gave me one. It was a licorice tube, and you bite into it, and there's actually salt in the middle. You can pour it out into your hand.
Oh, really?
This is the most intense, but I feel you're ready.
Man.
So this coffee, I was looking, AJ, at the bags of coffee you sent, reading the flavors and the taste, going, wow, I have not seen that before.
So I bought 2 bags of coffee, and I've already gotten into one of them in my contraband coffee maker that I may or may not have in my classroom. And it is, it was really good. I haven't opened the other one. I'm really excited, but the coffee place that we stopped at, it was a small just roaster in like a basement. It kind of had like a basement pub kind of feel.
Yeah.
And we may have walked halfway across Copenhagen to find a coffee roaster.
Probably.
Well,
I don't want a coffee shop. I want a coffee roaster.
The 2 bags that I got for Deanna, she loves them. Loves them. She's already tried both of them. So.
Our last day would be just like, I said, if I hear from you guys, maybe you guys were sleeping in, I'm not going to text you. And I just said, I'm just going to let it be like everything else has been. If we meet up, great. If not, we saw plenty of each other. But it was interesting that we're all on these little trajectories within that hang, because I was Shug. So I was more just doing meeting and greeting and talking to people. And I'm not quite sure what you guys did the whole time. And Corey wasn't always demoing his hammock. So, we all had this same experience and a different one, but really at the heart of it, we all felt the same at the end.
Yeah. Right. We kind of blended into we weren't like, oh, the American group is over there. Like, we just dispersed amongst everything there. And it was
absolutely,
but yeah, we still had the same awesome shared experience. We can talk about it. It was just really great.
I got to say, I'm really proud of us. I was proud of how you guys, being the HangCon guys here, went over. I never saw you meddle with it. You just kind of rolled. Meeting Corey, and I know hammock designers, they love talking about their stuff, but he'll kind of downplay it a little bit. But then when he goes into his explanation mode, like all of them, like the young man Alex from Barcelona, I asked him about his hammock. He was just kind of there and already got a lot of comments on his hammock on my video. I was just like, run me through it. I can't promise you anything, but maybe I can get some eyes on you that may not know you exist. That's all I can do is Shug, and right now, and hopefully some people have reached out to him. A couple of people said they signed up for his Kickstarter or whatever. I don't even know anything about that.
I'm thinking about getting one of the
Lesovics.
Yeah,
I'm getting one for sure.
But they were great people too.
Yeah,
they're already making me one. I'm getting that Burgundy Ron, they call it, the Ron Burgundy.
Oh yeah,
I'm getting that, and the midnight.
That was a really pretty color hammock.
Really, that with the midnight sky tarp.
Yeah,
and I kept looking. That's what I want, and it's here. I was thinking about it, laying in bed, going, I don't want, I won't put green bean, my little Black Bishop bag on there to blow. I just don't want to blow, putting a lot of weird colors on there. Like, it was so pure. And here's what I found out. because Raphael, the owner of that company, the young guy, he got my email from Lars and said, we're building you one. Now, I don't know if they're charging me for it or giving it to me or whatever. I wrote back to him. I said, well, I want a tarp too. I'm willing to pay because I was anyway. I was going to place an order.
Right.
But I said, I found out why it spoke to me. Because when I met Meg, my wife you just saw here, she was the purple girl in the circus. She's coming from San Francisco, and she wore a lot of purples and browns. And then I looked back in our third year in the circus, and the color scheme, that burgundy with that midnight sky, the Miley Cyrus song, was a big color of the show that year. When we rode elephants, we wore costumes with those colors in it. So I was going, it was speaking to a part of me, but I just kept looking at it. And it just kept drawing my eye, and it was warm and buttery. It didn't pop, yet it spoke. And you know what also impressed me? How tight their tarps were. Their tarps are really
pitchy. Yeah. There was no saggy part.
I never saw any sag.
The lines were crisp.
Crisp, like beautiful. And their little detail with the Polish flag and the little Lesavik guy in the corner.
Yep.
And it was funny because Raphael said to me, I don't want to appear nationalistic. I said, no, I think it's great. In the world of hammocks, I don't think I've ever thought of Poland as a hammock place.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I do. And now I'm hearing from so many people that have your Lars sleeps in one of their hammocks. So that to me was really cool, and just hearing their philosophy and meeting it. And I didn't even lay him one and try it. Just like I didn't lay in Corey's. Shug had no time to lay. No laying time. But I like all hammocks. I can make almost any hammock comfortable for myself. But I'm with you, AJ. I thought those colors were, you're talking about the one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Down by the lake.
Like that, like a deep red wine kind of.
Yeah. Burgundy rum.
It was so pretty.
Like what he told me. We have rum burgundy because we like Anchorman. And he said, the Midnight Sky, he said, actually, it's a Miley Cyrus song. And, you know, I'm kind of going, oh, different generation. But you know.
Weird spots for inspiration, but still a beautiful product at the end, I guess.
Yeah. And then a lot of their inspiration comes from gamers. Like, I don't know the game Witcher. I've heard of it.
Right.
Because some of our ideas with the Lesavik and the Protector of the Forest kind of come from that. You know, it's like, cool. That's a new philosophy that's beyond me, but I like it because that's what's coming our way, you know, in time.
I think they're going to try and make it over to HangCon in January as well, from what
they told me. I said, you should. And I said, they laughed when I said, Florida will probably be culture shock for you guys. And they kind of went, why do you think this, Shug? I said, well,
Florida can be a culture shock for America.
Florida's got a lot of range. It's got a lot of range. I said, I spent a lot of time in Florida, and there's different parts of Florida. And it's just, you know, the weather's cool. There's big creatures. I don't know. There's great seafood. I just said, Florida's different than a lot of the United States. It's kind of like Vermont is. It's just different, you know, beyond being a vacation mecca. It's, you know, that's where we like going to the beach down in Florida, you know, and I know what the shrimps taste like down there and the oysters. And so I hope they come. I hope you get these people.
Be awesome.
Because, you know, there'll be Americans walking by, man, I've never seen a Polish guy. I'm going to walk over and take a look at him.
It was great meeting like the international hammock vendors.
Yes,
like you know we love our vendors.
I agree.
And we've gotten really great relationships with them. But just meeting new people that are doing the same thing, just in a different context across the creek. It was just.
And I've never heard of Lesavik before. Never heard of them. Apparently they're quite popular. So I always get these comments on YouTube, or it comes up on hammock forums a lot. Someone in the UK going, we can't get any hammocks over here, so we have to get our hammocks from America and pay all that money. And going, well, now I can tell you there's DD. There are options there. I'll send them Lesavik's way going, they're kind of in your neighborhood.
Yeah,
you know, maybe they're just not even big out of Poland. I have no idea. So that kind of blew my mind too. Just seeing those new things too, and meeting them and go, you know, we knew Hammock was big.
Right.
And meeting Jonas, the designer, we even went back in the woods and talked. He's going, shoot, I just got to talk to you away from everybody. And before COVID, he had invited me over to just go camping in Norway. And he said, we're going to do that again. And he said, we're sending you one of those double hammocks. And I said, your folks offered it. I said, I don't have any room to bring anything home, but if you send one, I'd love to get Hickory in it. Me and Hickory doing, oh man, I can't just do. I mean,
me and AJ got in the one that they had set up over there, which was pretty interesting.
And the just amount of hammocks we saw back in our world, kind of like
yes,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So because you might go to a hang, and see one or two, maybe.
It's usually on display. People bring it. I think I saw that on HangCon. Let's just bring it and hang it up and let people eyeball it. It's like it's just very different, but it's got a big following there, and everybody looked really comfortable in there.
Well, same with the tensiles. I saw a lot of tensiles back there hung up and everything. They're coming over.
I mean, I'll just those have never appealed to me. Like made me want one right off the bat. I'm going, cool idea. I don't know if I have room for it. That looks like that'd be fun if you have four.
I don't know if it would be something that I would take on like a backpack. Well, it wouldn't. I would tell you.
No, you're not going to backpack with it. It's too heavy to backpack with.
If you owned a chunk of land or something, and it'd be fun to have one like up at a lake place or something, just for, hey, people come, you can sleep in the house with us, or you can sleep. It's like sleeping on a trampoline, I guess. I think when
it's set up right, it's actually comfortable. The very first time I ever set it up, I didn't set it up completely right.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah, they sent me one this past year for HangCon to display and everything. And so they sent it to me in September, I think, of last year is when I received it. So in October, I took it to Fall Sprawl. And I am actually kind of glad that I had it, because I had pitched my tarp up in porch mode and didn't look at the weather. And so that night we had a big storm come through and I got flooded out of my hammock. And so I had to take off over to the tensile. And so I was actually dry. But when I set it up at HangCon here, I actually set it up correctly. And it was they're very comfortable.
I mean, it looks cool. I'd like to have one. But, I always tell people, it's like even meeting Danny from Superior Gear. I just don't want anything new. I don't want to like anything. I'm set in my ways. And then I had to do a video, and then I got to break some hearts, or what if I don't like it? And at a certain point, that's.
But yeah, me and Alex and Robert were talking there at the festival, and they're planning on being there in January at HangCon.
You guys have quite a new group of Euro people.
Oh yeah,
I'll tell you.
Yeah, we're gonna have people from all over.
I think the motto for HangCon 2025, whether it be HangCon USA or HangCon Europe, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
We're gonna, and if I can get Hickory,
we're gonna need a bigger boat.
If I can get Hickory to put on his Maple King stuff and just walk through HangCon, man, just I can't force him. It has to come from him. I'm always ready. Oh man, yeah, maybe I was thinking about doing a Maple King. I'm going to go drink some whiskey. Well, let's get on down there. And it was funny at Yates, we had these two guys that are ex-cops. Heard that. I said, if Hickory approves, come on down and watch his pre-show. It's where I get to make a lot of sport of him, where I go, you have any ideas what you want to do? Not really, man. And sometimes I go, let's do this with not too much talking, because you're going to start rambling. Let's just keep it at, MapleKing.com. Just be weird. Just go into that weird sort of stop, looking around, nervous, psychotic guy with the stick. And so I get to kind of direct him. And it'd be funny if he did a Saturday evening walk. And thinking most people don't even know who the Maple King is, but a lot of people do. I get asked about the Maple King all the time. How's the Maple King? How's the Maple King? When are you and the Maple King get together? How's the Maple King doing? So when we come down, if he puts his big piece of birch bark in the car, I'll go, okay,
we're set. We're set. Well, we'll have plenty of his pre-show down at HangCon, I'm sure.
Yeah, the pre-show is the thing. There's just a little certain amount of whiskey he has to drink. He's got to make his little bag of apple cider and have kind of a hot one, and then he's nipping out of the bottle, and he's got to get that kind of rosy glow when he gets that little weird. So his cheeks get red, and he's in that little weird kind of like he's always nervous. You know, he's kind of a nervous guy. Oh God, I can't wait. It's going to be fun. And if all these guys really come, that will be so much fun. Be like a reunion, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the best. My favorite thing about just any hangs, especially, or it's my favorite thing about the year 2 of the hang is coming back and re-experiencing the same thing with that same group of people.
Right.
Just that reconnecting is just so powerful.
I watched a guy from your hang. I don't really know him. His name was Skip or Rush, or he does videos too, and he's kind of there, kind of like MacGyver, but not really doing
Trip.
And I don't know
Smith?
Trip.
Yeah.
I've never really seen him, but he was kind of doing his own take on being there. But I did like that he went around and he just got a lot of people to say, you know, I'm Dickie Lee Johnson from Gainesville, Florida, and I come down to HangCon just to see my friends, people I've seen every year, because usually I pretty much hate everybody, but everybody hates me. And so sort of everybody's thing was like seeing people over and over. I like to come down here because I see the people.
Yep.
That, you know, of course, that's the spirit of any good hang. You know, all the gear, seeing the new hammocks, that's really secondary. You know, and I mean, what we just did is it's just obvious that it's just about coming together, and not to be corny, but you know, I hear so many people all the time. Well, you know, the way the world is now, Sean, and you know, the way the world is now, and you know, and it's like, yeah, I know, but God, does that have to be the first word out of your mouth? Like, I'm Mr. Brightsides. I always look for the good in things. Going, there is a lot of good. I'm sorry, we can't all live in it, but I would say of all the people that can't live in it, there's some that absolutely are having struggles that I can't even fathom. But some people don't allow themselves good, you know, and let the good come in. Try looking at the good, like, and then you bring people together like we just did, and you go, there really is goodness in this planet, and we were lucky to really get a piece of that, because it kind of brings you back. My heart feels a little fuller and brighter, like I feel a little bit more empathetic. And, you know, I mean, I'm even saying, I'm not even hiding it. I'm coming to HangCon. Y'all don't have to hide it. I'm telling people, let them come. Put an announcement out. Let's do a Kmart Blue Light special.
Oh, man.
Now, do you plan on going back to Europe? Do you plan on going back to Europe next year?
I would definitely, you know, Laura's already asked me back, and you know, I always have this thing, you can never recreate the first time, you know.
Right.
And I don't know if the next time it might be a little bit more comfortable. I've already had a lot of people say, I didn't really know you were there. I would have come. So maybe I can announce it with its own video. I don't know, but I would love to go back. That's how much I liked it, especially if we could hang in those woods now that we know it. But I don't know.
As far as I know, it's going to be the same place.
In a different spot.
Yeah. Would you guys
I've already looked up over there would be good.
Up on that little ridge line where Corey was. And I'm going to bring a water bladder.
Yes.
To have water, because I was dehydrated constantly. But Rune, the Norwegian guy, was going, you can take water from my bladder anytime, Shug. You know, it's but
I think also like,
if you guys go back, you would, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely. 100%. I mean, I'm already planning it.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
I think
already planning.
You know, it says something like you were talking about, just like the people. And, you know, we've said this a lot on the podcast before, and I'll kind of reiterate that. The three of us are naturally, like you would say, very spirited introverts. You know,
of course.
We are adults. Everybody complains about, oh, it's hard to meet new people. It's hard to expand your friend base. 3 introverts going to a completely foreign country with people that we have never met, that we do not share even a common language. And right now, we have a completely new group of friends / family. I'm looking on my Facebook, and I have I've got a sea of new Danish names that are popping up.
Yep, me too.
I've got numbers.
This took one weekend. This took one weekend and
3 days. People have invited me, and I think Lars and Christian, when I was saying I want to bring Meg over, I think because they offered to fly. I just got the email this morning or yesterday. They were saying, we'd love to have you back. We'll happily fly Meg over. Now, Meg wants nothing to do with this. This is my thing. And it would be weird just to leave her in Copenhagen for the week at a hotel.
Hey, that's what my wife is going to do, probably. I think we're going to go over a little early. And she's going to be in Copenhagen. It'll probably be myself and her and my stepson. And we're going to do our thing. And then whenever the event, it's time for me to go to the event, I'll go to the event and they might stay a day or so and then come on back. And then I'll fly back. She doesn't want to go out in the woods
either. It's good that Dawn does, but I thought that was sweet. And I said, we might come on our own dime. We'll see. I kind of told Meg, like, I know you wouldn't want to come out there, but I think you'd have fun in Copenhagen like me. But Meg's more like,
it
has to be where she's less interested in just rambling like I do. She just wants a spa treatment, all the spa and saunas and that kind of stuff. But anyway, to be asked back, I was like 100%. I have like 5 or 6 cards. I'm probably going to fly over sometime, and I want to do it within a year and a half before I get too old. And a couple of guys going, you ought to just fly back. People here now. Let's just go backpacking. And I said, that's what I'd like to do. Go up to southern Sweden, maybe go up to Norway. So I might do it because I got a few. It's just like reach out to Lars. Just, I don't know, let him know. And I don't want to go do it alone, really. That'd be horrible. Like I do enough of that here. And, this trip has also told me I don't need to be so much of a loner all the time. Just let it out a little bit, in proportion to the people I meet, not to the whole world. Everybody invite me, I'm coming. No, hell no. That's scary. But, just in this world that we met of people, all these new friends who've invited, they said, yeah, you and Meg can stay with us. And I said, I know that's big for a Dane to invite you to their home.
Right.
And especially to stay. And I said, I appreciate it. I'll take that under advisement. I don't know what we're going to, like Martin, the man that I met, the YouTube guy, you could stay at our home. I said, we'll probably stay in a hotel, Martin, but I'd love to come to your home for dinner. And he's going, we will do it. I said, that would make me so happy to come sit in your yard just with your family and have dinner. That's everything to me, share a meal, but not at a restaurant, it's your home. It'd be cool.
Right.
Didn't have to be fancy.
Pretty awesome. So, all right. Well, we have been rambling for over an hour and a half now.
I know.
So
it's long for y'all.
Just how was real quick before we wrap it up?
Yeah.
How was your flight home?
Flight home was great.
From over there.
Plane didn't crash. Everything.
That's always a plus.
I was just keep thinking, I love in an airplane when you enter the plane and you get to turn left when you're going up to real first class.
Yeah.
And when you got first class to the right and everybody's standing next to you while you're having your free drink and they're standing there. I hate that. Real first class is to the left. And I'm thinking, I'd like to be in one of those pods, laid back flat, but I still don't think I'd be able to sleep. I was just so full of, my whole sleep schedule is off, as I'm sure you guys staying up late, getting up early, slept late, just like, I don't know what my schedule was, but I just was so high from the trip. I mean, even talking to you guys, I knew you felt that way, but now it's a reaffirmation to me to see you guys do our little computers here and go, you're still high on it too.
Oh man.
Without a doubt.
So I'm already looking at flights, because we get a lot of people asking, oh, well, what if we did HangCon Spain or HangCon Scotland or stuff like that? I'm already looking at flights saying, can we make this happen? Just because this whole thing is, like you said, it's been a very pivotal moment for you. Like for me, we've always kind of loved to travel, but been very intimidated by international travel and traveling overseas. This is I've done this now. I will never check another bag, but everything can go in a backpack and a travel item, and my butt can fit in a seat now. So we are going to go. And
now you got a connection through our. I mean, we all really saw you bring a bunch of campers together. I mean, you know it from Florida HangCon. I know it from Hangs here, ones in North Carolina. You get down there, and it's just like a bluegrass festival. Yeah, everybody just comes together, and you just sort of leave everything out of it. The world stays out of it. There's always one or two that want to bring up all that stuff. I just walk away. It's like, that's not what I'm here to talk about. Shug, how's your stock portfolio? Man, that's not what I'm here. I don't want.
Is that a coffee flavor? Like,
yes,
if it's not, I don't.
Right, is that a cake? Don't you have some cake? Give me some cake. Let's just talk about leaves and cheese, and that's all Hicks and I talk about. Meg will go, "What you guys talk about? String cheese and leaves." No, really, no, that's pretty much it. I honestly, just don't talk about families that much or anything. It's just sort of turned into 12-year-olds. But God, like a HangCon Scotland would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And Spain, Ariel's just in Madrid. She loved it so much. And I met Alex with the Gear for Trees hammocks, and he was so sweet. And the way his hammock, it's a hammock that turns into a beach blanket and back, because, everybody in Barcelona, they're at the beach all the time. So it's dual use. Just some interesting, you look at hammocks nowadays, you go, they're all basically the same. And sure, everybody's trying to come up with their own little thing within it.
Sure.
And he has some pretty cool little ideas, and, I don't know if Lesevic's got anything in there is out of this world new, but it was more like the colors and the cut and the style and their philosophy in life, what they brought to it. It's like, they're not trying to create a new world, but it must be nice because Lars has one. So, we've got both ends. To me, it was the colors and the style.
Right.
AJ, you said that color. I heard several people, Drew, I've not seen that color combination ever. Wherever they're getting that fabric. And I was going, and then they also said, we keep all the greens because that's very popular in Europe. Everybody likes sort of the, olives and browns, but a lot of the newer kids that want to camp want something a little bit more speaks to them, and so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me know when you put this out, and I'll link it.
Sure do.
On my community page.
Yep. Do you got anything?
I forgot podcast. I thought we were just sitting here talking really about, which is really what I just wanted it to be. Just get back.
And that's kind of like what we do here. Paul, do you want to kind of wrap it up, and we'll keep chatting?
Yeah.
All right. So you don't have anything else you want to add or anything to AJ before we go?
I just kind of want to say thanks, Shug, for coming on. It was super great meeting you. I would really like to appreciate everything that Lars and Christian and the Danish Outdoor Festival had for bringing us over. And to everyone, our friends and family in Denmark and all of Europe that kind of met us over there. Thank you guys. You guys really warmed our hearts and opened our eyes to this beautiful new world. And thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tag that with a huge talk. And, Christian and Lars and Martin and Christian the Carpenter and Jonas, who I love Jonas, who would always run up, get your pot, Shug, it's time to eat. And I'd be talking to people. He'd come back 20 minutes later, get your pot. He was their man, their Pony Express running out. And just, everybody, and Christian's girlfriend Mette and Annette, and just everybody over there that made us feel so welcome and really at home. I'll just say that I felt very at home, like I've been there before, and I was comfortable in my skin from the moment I landed there to the moment I left. I was comfortable from head to toe.
Exactly.
100%.
So, all right. Well, I want to just put it out there that anybody that's listening to this episode here, if there is a way for you to make it over to that event next year or any other year in the future, I would really suggest it. It was such a great time. And I know that, if you're able to make it over there, you'll have the same type of time that we had this past year, and I'm sure that we will have, in the future when we go back over there. So, I'll put the links to the festival in the show notes, and I think there's a couple of YouTube videos that you can look up on it and everything else, but just give that a try. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you over there as well. And that's pretty much going to be it for this episode. So we will catch you on the next one. See y'all later.
Happy hanging, everybody.
Woo! Camarade! All secure in Sector Denmark/Florida.
As we gently sway out of another hammock-filled episode, we want to thank you, our wonderful listeners, for hanging out with us on the Hammock Hangers podcast. We hope that you have found relaxation, inspiration, and a renewed sense of connection to nature through our discussions. Remember to keep that hammock spirit alive in your daily life, whether it's by taking a few moments to unwind in your own backyard oasis or by planning your next hammock adventure in the great outdoors. Embracing the tranquility, embracing the simplicity, and never forget the joy that comes from simply hanging around. Before we part ways, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all things hammock related. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for the Hammock Hangers Podcast. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to hang with you again on our next episode. Until then, stay relaxed, stay adventurous, and keep on hanging those hammocks high. From all of us here at the Hammock Hangers Podcast, we wish you peaceful hangs and endless relaxation. Thank you for tuning in. Happy hanging, everyone.